Good morning, Wargamers. This is Mullen Lave back with a second campaign, playing as Japan in Scenario 1. We're about to finish up the setup for our December 7th, 1941 turn. So let's just get right into the opening strategy this time. Actually, before we do opening strategy, quick note on what the house rules are going to be for this campaign, because they are a little different from the first one. Not too different. Pretty standard rule with the political points. If they're going to cross national borders, you need to pay full political point value. We're also restricting 4-engine bombers to minimum altitude of 10,000 feet for port strikes and naval strikes, but we've decided we're going to make an exception for U.S. Navy 4-engine bombers. Their restriction's going to be just 5,000 feet instead. We are banning amphibious landings on spaces that don't have at least a dot base. And then the spirit of the December 7th surprise rule that we had in the last campaign is in effect. So that means, for me, I can't use the fact that I know where his task forces start to, drop a more powerful task force on them wherever they start. And likewise, he can't use his advanced knowledge that there's an attack coming on December 7th by clearing out his ports and transferring squadrons out of air bases and that sort of thing. So that said, let's dive in. Very similar opening to my first campaign. I am still splitting off Carrier Division 2 from the Kido Butai, with Divisions 1 and 3 proceeding with the Pearl Harbor strike. I've adjusted that strike slightly. If you watched the first campaign, you may remember that I changed the default strike around a little bit, so I think by default the VALs are mostly targeting Hickam Air Base. All VALs and all Kates are on port strike. Hickam Air Base is going to be hit by zeros. They'll be bombing from 10,000 feet, where they're not going to take a whole lot of flak casualties. And, I was so happy with the zeros results bombing the airbase that all I really did to adjust this strike was add to it. So we're going to have fewer zeros on cap, fewer zeros on escort, more of them going in and bombing. Carrier Division 2 is going to be heading to the west side of Manila to participate in a port strike there. Manila's again going to be subject to pretty much a maximum effort port strike coming out of Takao. The only aircraft that are assigned to something other than striking the port are going to be these zeros from Carrier Division 2, which are also at least partially assigned to striking the airfield there. And the Lilies of the 8th Sentai, 5th Air Division, are going to be bombing Clark Airfield. I'd really like to throw everything into the port, but the damage to aircraft bonus on the first day is just too good to pass up. And at Clark Air Base, you've got possibly the P-40 Echoes with the the naval strike capability, but for sure the B-17s. And I must have said like 5, 6, 12 times during the campaign that I hate B-17s. So I want to disable as many as possible. China, I'm changing absolutely nothing from my first campaign. What that basically means is that most of my early moves are just going to be guided by those, semi-famous spreadsheets in the War in the Pacific community that are just designed to min-max the garrisons, basically. So the first week or so is mostly going to be that sorting up. And once again, my main strategy early on is going to be to focus on the oil bases up here in the north central region. Malaya, not a whole lot changing here. I'm still going to have a reserve force to hit Mersing if it's going to be open. In the meantime, Kodabaru, Kwantan going right after those. I made a whole bunch of unforced mistakes in the first campaign involving like allowing units to kind of stall out and not move. I'm going to be better about that this time. I had ships arrive and not unload and turn around. I'm going to be better about that this time. So hopefully with those we'll be more efficient. And who knows, maybe we'll be able to achieve our goal of having Singapore fall before the year is over. So that's that. We are going after Kuching. I've kind of doubled down on this a bit. And, okay, that is one thing I changed from my original opening. In my opening for the first campaign, I had these heavy surface forces performing some bombardments. And for whatever reason, those bombardments didn't happen, and I couldn't change the setup so that they'd reliably happen. So we're not going to do that. And also the other problem I had in my first campaign was, we kept getting surface forces ravaging our invasion forces over here on the coast of Borneo, Sarawak. So you know what? Instead of having heavy surface ships do bombardment missions and suck at them or not do them, they're going to be a heavy covering force that's going to guard here. So yeah, we're kind of dividing up the fleet, in part because I'm hoping, or at least estimating, that if Force Z gets into an entanglement with a heavy force on my side, they're at least going to be damaged badly enough that they're going to be picked off before they can get back into air cover. Picked off by my torpedo bombers before they get into air cover. Famous last words depending on airstrikes that are weather dependent, but that's what I'm doing. Campaign 1, I went after Jolo right away. That's not happening. That was stupid. Katabo's right here and has a size 2 airbase. Do I really need a size 3 airbase when I have a size 2 right here? No, I don't. So instead, we're going here to Katabo instead. We already had forces going there, but now there's going to be a little bit of aviation engineers, and I did check to make sure that Katabo's in range to Cameron Bay in terms of rebasing Mabels and stuff like that, so we can still get our short-range strike here that we're going to use to hopefully try to prevent escapes coming out of Manila. As in the first campaign, I'm still hitting Wake before Guam, but there were some especially slow ships in the main Wake task force, so there were some 10-knot ships. So I took the 10-knot ships out of the formation. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to re-include the minesweepers and support ships that were part of those 10-knot ships. But that's okay, because they can just kind of sit around and wait for something better to do. We don't really need them at Wake or Guam all that much. Additionally, because one of the major problems I had in my first run through was that around Rabaul, I kept getting my amphibious ships ravaged, first by enemy surface forces and later by carrier aircraft that were rebased to land bases. So part of these covering forces are going, they're going to unite with some ships coming out of Japan, and they're going straight to Truk to support their operations there. And then Kido Butai, rather than try to put a half-ass strike on Wake to make them think that I'm dividing up into separate carrier divisions, they're just going to go straight to Truk. Yeah. I don't think the deception's worth it. At least not yet. I can always try to pull something like that later on. I kind of liked my submarine strategy in the first campaign, which was in part to sort of have a tactical reserve, we'll say. So 3/4 or more of the subs are out interdicting shipping lanes, but I'm holding a few submarines in reserve to keep them around areas that are likely going to be the sites of naval battles. So hopefully I'll have possible surveillance that could tip me off that I wouldn't otherwise have. I could possibly get some unexpected attrition before a battle that I might not otherwise have. And then I also have the ability to possibly move in and administer a coup de grace to ships that have been damaged and are trying to escape the combat area, that sort of thing. So that's all I'm trying to accomplish with a tactical reserve. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. As always, we'll see you back here for the combat replay. Thanks for watching. All right, here we go. New campaign underway with the December 7th, 1941 combat replay. Starting off with our midget sub-attacks on Pearl Harbor. Not getting a whole lot going on. All right, take that back. We got a hit on the Tennessee. Basically a little freebie. And it doesn't look like I'm going to get any of those midget subs back. One of the enemy subs is trying to interfere with our landing on Kuching. No hits. Another possible submarine intervention off, I think it's Kotabaru. Let's get some hits. Nope. Always a shame when we can't get these guys in shallow water. Alright, Pearl Harbor attacks. Alright, torpedo hit on Arizona. 800 kilogram hit on Tennessee, but it did not penetrate the armor. Torpedo hit on West Virginia. Yeah, we really don't care about these 250 kilogram hits on battleships anyways. Hickam Air Base is getting worked over pretty good by the Zeros. Alright, another torpedo hit. And another. I think Pennsylvania's been hit before. Torpedo hits that are going to bring these battleships down. There we go, another one in Pennsylvania. 800 kilogram penetrates Oklahoma, and another on Maryland. I think I saw one in Tennessee there too. Looks like some of the Vals are starting to go after light cruisers, so that's nice. Alright, torpedo hits on battleships that have been hit before. So we're starting to accumulate some damage here. And a bunch of wasted 250 kilogram hits now. There we go. Alright, Arizona's hit again. Pennsylvania's hit again. I think we've taken Pennsylvania down to this point. I've seen her hit so many times. There we go. Nevada gets another. Oklahoma gets another. Oklahoma another still. Arizona another one. West Virginia with an 800, but I think it said it didn't penetrate. Tennessee with another one. Pretty sure we've sunk the Tennessee by this point. Yeah, Maryland with another. I think we've got Maryland. Nevada, California with torpedo hits. This strike is going to be so much more successful than the one from my last campaign, as California takes another penetrating 800 kilogram. Arizona with another. I think that was West Virginia, now California with another. Oh man, this is going to be good. Now we didn't have any like magazine explosions or other secondary explosions, or at least I didn't actually see any. Alright, let's have a look here. Arizona confirmed sunk. Tennessee confirmed sunk. I think that's all I see as far as sunk goes. Pennsylvania's got 3 torpedo hits, so that's a possible sinking. West Virginia with 2 torpedo hits, she'll survive. Maryland with 3, no heavy damage, she'll survive. Nevada with 4 torpedo hits, that's a potential sinking. And California with 3 torpedo hits, also a potential sinking there, heavy damage and on fire. So yeah, far, far, far more successful strike than a very similar strike from my first campaign. Alright, sweep on Clark. A bit more resistance than we were anticipating. And hey, I'd rather see these P-40s in the air fighting us than striking our carriers. Of course, they would lose more pilots if they were attacking our carriers. Well, we sure took care of business there. 1 P-26 and 5 P-40s go down. Not bad at all. No losses on our side. Can't complain. Alright, these are sweeps on Alor Star. This is going to be a little bit of a slap fight. I don't expect these planes to be able to hurt each other very much since they're only carrying medium machine guns. The Blenheim IFs might be carrying more than that. I forget what they're armed with. undamaged without going down. Maybe we'll get this one. Got a critical hit. So many shots from behind. Come on, guys. Put one down. Nope. So just one Blenheim IF shot down. A whole bunch of Buffaloes shot up, but no actual aircraft going down. Here's Manila. Lots of cap. A little disappointed my swoop did not arrive first. But hey, we've got plenty of escorts, so I guess it's not so bad. Of course, they did get the Allies' first air-to-air kill in this engagement. Doesn't look like their luck's gonna hold up, man. Maybe I spoke too soon. Damn. Back even at 3 apiece. Alright, everybody gets through. No fighter attacks on bombers. We've already got 3 submarines hit by 800 kilogram bombs. Make that 4. Five, 6, 7. Though at this point we may have multiple 800 kg hits on the same submarine. So this attack so far looks like it's going to be absolutely devastating in terms of submarine losses. Just these 800 kg hits just keep piling on. Whew. Wow. Alright, so confirmed sunk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 submarines confirmed sunk, and we're not done yet. This is Carrier Division 2's strike. Zeros are officially part of the attack package. Looks like they did a fine job routing the B-40s that came in. So there's 2 shoot-downs. No losses. So the Zeros are going after the airbase, the proper attack aircraft with port. Seeing the submarines starting to take a beating again. There's another sub hit. Oh, wow. Alright. How many more subs did we get? 1 for sure. 2, 3. So 3 more subs. I think that was 6 the first time, so that's 9 subs. Confirmed sunk, and, you know, it's not like the other submarines are doing all that good either. Ooh, got nervous there for a minute. Looks like the Lilies were going to get intercepted, but they did not actually get attacked, so they get to work over Clark Air Base all by their lonesomes. And it looks like enemy aircraft damage on the ground is quite severe. So nothing, very few aircraft actually being reported destroyed on the ground, but we had plenty of reports indicating damage, so that is a really good sign. Alright, Kodabaru attack is not intercepted. I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. Did see some damage messages. Okay, so this is good news. The Wildebeest took a bit of a pounding, and we destroyed at least 2 Hudsons on the ground as well. It's the torpedo bombers that really concern me, but you know the medium bombers are still good for wearing down my fighters, so they count too. Just skip this. We're attacking the port. They have a lot of ships here. We really don't have bombs big enough to sink any of these, so we're just damaging them so that they hopefully don't get very far if they try to make a run for it. Yeah, where were you guys earlier? Alright, we have enemy ships at sea in the South China Sea. Wonder who they are and who's going to react to them. Strike. So we have not made contact with Force C, so that's the secondary target of these torpedo bombers. Kwanton Air Base is a nice target because it does not have a rail line, so had we disabled any aircraft, which if we did, they're not letting us know, they won't be able to rail them out. Speaking of which, I've noticed that our strike on Georgetown hasn't happened yet. It's another base that does not have a rail connection. There we go. Starting to get worried for a while. All these bombs hitting and no aircraft reported damage. That's what I like to see. Lots of B-17s damaged. That makes me happy. Clear skies for the Alor Star Strike, thanks to that Nate sweep earlier. It looks like we're just damaging Blenheims. Ooh. Alright, so we have P-40Es and such going after Carrier Division 2. Fighters are not faring well against my cap. 7 seagulls, huh? The seagulls basically all get through. And they're strafing. Well, got me a little nervous when I saw those planes get through. But yeah, that's pretty well coordinated attack considering how many bases they came from. But we didn't lose anything. We got 4 P-40s, 4 P-26s, and 5 of these seagulls. So just an absolute waste on the part of the enemy here. And those were considered sweeps rather than escorts. That's kind of weird. Wonder how he made that work. Anyway. Alright, Quanton's getting hit. Oh, the Buffaloes are dropping like flies early. So, protecting this rather aggressive move of mine was my main priority here. So that's where the Zeros and Oscars are for the most part. Fortunately, the Oscars have the light machine guns only with the 1 Alpha variants. So it's the Zeros that are really going to be doing the good work here. Concern here is we're probably going to wear down our fighter presence, and that might open up the door to torpedo bombers later in the day. In the case of the Oscar 1As, I'd so much rather have them going after torpedo bombers, since medium bombers are just kind of asking a lot of their machine guns. Alright, 5 plenums get through. They hit nothing. So that was a complete slaughter. We took no losses, shot down 8 enemy Buffaloes, so more than half of them. They only brought 13, and then we also ended up with 6 plenums and 1 Hudson. Great result for no losses, and we didn't even get any of our ships hit. Just hope we have a cap left for the next enemy strike. Speaking of which, fortunately this is a different location. I'm kind of surprised we don't have any nates here, but oh well, they missed. What are they bombing from? 6,000 feet? Yeah, that could have been bad. Well, at least the nates showed up for these guys. That could have been a lot worse. just 2 torpedo bombers, huh? Well, they lost one. Those guys probably would have gotten through, but we chased them off. Ah, damn. So this is exactly what I didn't want to happen. Okay, so fortunately, I think the wildebeests are outside of torpedo range. The swordfish was not. So, got pretty lucky there. The swordfish could have done some damage. They did get a torpedo shot off, but ended up with nothing. Enemy losses were quite high. 2 wildebeests down by flak, another 6 to the cap on the way out, plus 1 swordfish was shot down by flak. Oh, and we got 1 by fighters, at least 1. Yeah, so apparently my count's a little off. Still can't complain here. Ah, we're always good through. What are they going to do with their, like, 50-pound bombs? Oh, sorry, 100-pound bombs. So we're seeing a very, very active defense for the enemy here on December 7th. Not going to complain too much because time zone differences probably mean our surprise in the Philippines would have been ruined. Yeah, so these bombers walk right in. Our cap's completely depleted. But they're still losing another one to flak. Bombing from 6,000 feet. Yeah, that's just not really the right aircraft for the job. Alright, here we go. Bombardment on one of those air bases that does not have a rail. I like making these moves, and we're not reporting any air... Oh, there we go. Sorry, I missed it. So yeah, it's 7 instances of P-40 damage on the ground. Would have been nice if we could have done that before they attacked our carriers, but hey. Those guys probably aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Landing's now in progress. This is the one that we're most worried about. Light cruisers versus some decently powerful shore batteries here. We can go ahead and skip it and just see if we get any hits on us. Yeah. 2 hits, but divided between 2 light cruisers, so nothing too terrible. Alright, 1 attack taking place at China, easy win. Reflexive bombardment at Kuching. Got 3 paratrooper operations getting these bases to turn over. And again, the reason why I'm doing this is that so I can essentially start immediately using these as air bases. If I just let the Marines take care of it. They wouldn't flip over until tomorrow. Alright everybody, we're going to do a quick post-turn analysis after the December 7th turn. Going to do a little bit of a formatting change from before. Before I kind of like to go all around the map and kind of talk about what the developments were. That ended up being highly duplicative of the setup for the next turn. So instead, I'm still going to go around the map a little bit, but I'm kind of going to try to do like a bullet point list of sort of a summary of the events that are happening in that theater, basically. So starting with China, and there wasn't too much going on here. We did have one land battle over here at Pegu, so that was a victory, and I'd basically call that a mop-up operation because that was an enemy unit stuck behind enemy lines. Losses there were 49-1 in our favor. The only other combat action was in Hong Kong. We had a port strike there that damaged 12 cargo ships. Moving on to Malaya as a theater. So we had amphibious landings at Singora, Patani, Kota Bharu, and Kuantan, as well as Kuching. We're going to count that as part of the same theater. We had successful airstrikes against Alor Star, Kota Bharu, and Kuantan, and then we had an airstrike against Georgetown that was scheduled but was scrubbed. I'd say the Kuantan airstrike was of questionable success because we didn't have any aircraft being reported damaged or destroyed on the ground, but the strikes against Kota Bharu and Alor Star did appear to be successful and at least accomplish some attrition of enemy aircraft on the ground. We suffered enemy strikes against our ships at Patani, Kota Bharu, and Kuantan. None of these strikes ended up hitting any of our ships and resulted in pretty significant air losses, which we'll go over that a little bit more in a minute. In terms of naval losses, but we did have 2 light cruisers damaged in the amphibious landings off Kuching. There were 2 instances of engagements with submarines. I think one was off the coast here of Malaya, and then another one off the coast of Kuching. Those didn't result in any damage. Air losses. Now, this is where it gets fun. We had no losses, setting aside operational losses, but no combat losses. Well, the enemy lost 1 Blenheim IF fighter, 9 Buffaloes, 3 Hudsons, 6 Blenheim 1s, 10 Wildebeest, 3 Swordfish, and a Whirlaway. So pretty devastating day in the air for them over here. Moving on to the Luzon Theater. We had successful landings at Vigan and Laog, and we also had base captures at those same 2 bases, along with Bayombang, thanks to the paratroopers moving in. Successful strikes against both Clark Air Base and Manila, along with the successful bombardment attack at Iba. Port strike on Manila. We did have the chart running during the combat replay for you, but just to recap that was 10 submarines damaged, another 10 submarines sunk, and then if memory serves, that was 7. That probably got away then. There were also 2 destroyers damaged, along with a gunboat and a minesweeper. 3 PT boats sunk, and then we damaged a aviation tender. 3 cargo ships, sunk 1 AKL, and also damaged 2 oilers and 2 tankers. Losses here included 3 losses for our Zeros, So we actually did take air-to-air losses thanks to the P-40s they got in the air. Enemy losses, however, were 14 P-40s by my count, although trackers showing quite a bit more than that. Although that might include losses at Pearl Harbor. But yeah, total P-40 losses for the turn for the enemy were 27, according to Tracker. Pretty bad. 5 P-26s and 5 Seagulls in that failed attack on our base. The last part of the recap that we need is Pearl Harbor. Our losses here were 11 Kates, 2 zeros, and 6 Vals. Completely acceptable losses for what we got. Also 5 mini-subs that were deployed and never made it back. Got 1 hit on the Tennessee in exchange for those 5 mini-subs, which I guess for the midget subs, that's not a bad performance, really. But then enemy naval losses, 2 battleships sunk, 6 damaged, 4 light cruisers damaged, 1 heavy cruiser damaged, and 2 destroyers damaged. Alright, so just looking at our losses overall for the day, you can see this is pretty devastating for the Allies. 91 aircraft lost to R-27. Yeah, I'm still kind of blown away by that number. It definitely exceeded my wildest expectations. And part of that is they're losing so many to flak. They had so many attempted airstrikes that we actually had an opportunity to shoot a lot of them down from the surface. It doesn't happen very often. Pretty decent performance in terms of eliminating aircraft on the ground. Can't say I'm disappointed with that at all either. And then our losses, pretty light. Yeah, the 11 Kates were all at Pearl Harbor. Zeros, we're taking significant operational losses, so those could be anywhere. Yeah, we can't complain. A lot of juice for the squeeze that we got here. And then just to quickly look over the confirmed sinkings, nothing different here compared to what we reported out of the combat reports, so no surprises there. And then, of course, victory point gain of 478, and that's mostly coming from sunk ships. It's not like we're doing that many base captures or army losses. And with the air losses contributing as well. Alright, so I said I'd keep it short, so we're hopefully going to have the next turn done soon, so we'll see you for the setup for December 8th. Thanks for watching.